Hello and welcome to another Daily Fix. I'm Akeem, and in today's episode, some positive news for Astro Bot fans, some not so positive news for Visions of Mana fans, and positive news for old school Final Fantasy fans, but not really positive if you're, hoping for a remake to a certain 16-bit game. Yeah, let's drop it. The new Astro Bot game is just around the corner, but according to the PSN trophy list for the game, the developers are already thinking about a sequel. Yeah, now slight spoilers here if you don't want to know anything about the upcoming game and just want to be surprised when you unlock new trophies. As spotted by Twitter user Genki JPN, the Platinum Trophy titled Astronomical has the following description, quote, "Earned all trophies, well done, and see you in Astro's next adventure." That's not exactly confirmation of an Astro Bot 2, but considering this technically isn't the little robot's first game outing, it's likely we'll see another Astro Bot something in the future or sometime in the future. I don't know what's going to happen with that little robot, man. Astro Bot was first introduced in the Playroom app for PS4 and had his very own little adventure in Astro Bot Rescue Mission for the PlayStation VR. Then for the PS5, Sony included the tech demo, Astro's Playroom, that was a great showcase for all the DualSense controller features. Now, we liked it so much that we scored it an 8 out of 10. I say we, that's the royal we, because IGN scored it that. Personally, I scored it a 6. Yeah. Anyways, the upcoming Astro Bot game, simply titled Astro Bot, is a sequel to that. Now, we previewed the new game, and our previewer is pretty damn hyped on it. The game will be out on September 6th, so we'll have to wait till then to see what review we give it. Moving on to less happy news, Visions of Mana developer Oka Studios could be shutting down. Yes, now they just shipped a critically acclaimed game only yesterday, but that might not be enough for parent company NetEase. Now, via Bloomberg, sources familiar with the situation claim that most of the staff have already been laid off, and only what sounds like a skeleton crew being kept around to make sure its last few games are released. It's unclear what other projects the studio has been working on outside of Visions of Mana. NetEase and its rival Tencent are reportedly scaling back investment in Japanese game developers, with NetEase having already backed out of previous funding commitments. NetEase hasn't announced anything officially about the closure of Ouka Studios, but sources are speculating that it could be due to the success of Black Myth Wukong. Now, that game has been a huge hit for relatively small developer Game Science and is seen as a win for the Chinese domestic video game industry. NetEase could be looking to invest more in homegrown developers. Now, it's been a rough year for game developers as layoffs continue to ravage the industry as a whole. Microsoft shut down Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks in May, while Sony closed its London studio in March. And we're all hoping that those affected by the layoffs land on their feet. And finally, Final Fantasy creator Hironobu Sakaguchi reveals what he thinks is the most complete Final Fantasy. And no, it's not Final Fantasy VII. Via an interview with Inverse, Sakaguchi places Final Fantasy VI at the top of the list. Sakaguchi said, quote, "In terms of the Final Fantasy that I think is the most complete, I believe Final Fantasy VI comes close and does stand out above the other Final Fantasies, especially because it was the last Final Fantasy to use pixel art in all of its visual expression." Wow. Now, he might also be a little biased as it's one of the last Final Fantasy projects he oversaw as producer before leaving Square Enix in 2003. Final Fantasy VI is a favorite, especially among older Final Fantasy fans. The game was released back in 1994 and was the final Final Fantasy game for the Super Nintendo, released in the US as Final Fantasy III, and the last mainline Final Fantasy game for a Nintendo console before the development of Final Fantasy VII switched things up for the Sony PlayStation. Now, fans have been wanting a remake of Final Fantasy VI in the same vein as the recent Final Fantasy VII remake and Rebirth titles. But Final Fantasy VI director Yoshinori Nori Katase said in a YouTube video that while there are many within Square Enix that would love an FF6 remake, they're focused on getting the third and final Final Fantasy VII remake game out the door. I want y'all to watch this over and take a shot every time I say Final Fantasy, all right? Because I'm pretty sure I said it a lot of times. And those are your stories for today, Friday, August 30th. You just platinumed it, baby. We're off Labor Day Monday because it's a holiday, so no fixes. You better just come back on Tuesday. We'll be there. That's the American day. Happy Labor Day. We'll see you next time. Bye.